rise. Circuit Court's now in session. Honorable Judge Glenn Kelly presiding.
Okay, good morning. Please be seated. Welcome back. Okay, we ready to continue? Okay, we had, I think it was Detective Moreno on the stand. Is he here? Okay, why don't we put, let's put him back on the stand and then we'll bring the jury out. No, he's still under oath. Just come forward and take the stand, Detective. Okay, let's bring out the jury.
Jury enter.
All right, counsel, you may be seated. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Claypool, I believe we were in your cross-examination. Anytime you're ready to continue.
Okay, thank you. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Detective Moreno.
Good morning.
Get a good night's sleep?
Yes, I did.
Good, good. Just a few more questions for you. Isn't it true that in August of 2009, the Boynton Beach Police Department had a policy or a directive in place that required the confidential informant to be fully debriefed by both the sponsoring police officer, that would have been you, right?
Yes.
And a supervisor?
Yes.
All right, so isn't it true that no supervisor from Boynton Beach PD debriefed Mohammed Shahadi?
No supervisor? I can't speak for any supervisor, but I did.
Okay, but I'm talking about a supervisor. As you sit here today under oath, are you aware of any supervisor at Boynton Beach Police Department that fully debriefed Mohammed Shahadi?
No, I can't answer that.
All right, so if no supervisor from Boynton Beach Police Department fully debriefed Mohammed Shahadi, that would be a violation of the policy and procedure of the Boynton Beach Police Department that was in place in August 2009, correct?
Oh, any debriefing that was done to Mr. Mohammed, there was usually a supervisor around me because I worked with the supervisor through the whole investigation. So
Okay.
if it did happen, I can't answer for that supervisor, but I did, and I had a sergeant with me at all times.
All right, but my question is this. Let me try the question again. Let me try that. You're not aware of any supervisor, correct, from Boynton Beach PD that debriefed Mohammed Shahadi, true?
Yes, I can't answer for a
All
supervisor.
right, great. So assume that no supervisor from Boynton Beach PD fully debriefed Mohammed Shahadi. That would be a violation of the policy and procedure of Boynton Beach Police Department, correct?
I can't assume to that question.
Did you see the Cops TV episode?
Yes, I did.
You were featured in the Cops TV episode, correct?
Yes.
All right. Yesterday, I asked you a question about whether you could have used some other type of device to ensure that all phone calls between Mohammed Shahadi and Dalia Dippolito were recorded regardless of whether you were in the presence of Mohammed Shahadi. Do you remember generally those questions?
Yes.
All right. And I believe your testimony under oath yesterday was that there was no other device that you could have used to ensure that phone calls between Shahadi and Dippolito post 5 p.m. would be recorded, correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd like to refer the witness to prior testimony under oath. I've handed, for the record, a
That's
copy.
fine, just identify the
Yeah, it's
page on the line.
from a hearing on February 23rd, 2016, and refer the state to page 205, lines 18 through 21.
All right, may proceed.
Okay. Would the court...
You can show
may I approach you?
detective, yes.
Okay, Detective Moreno, you recall back in on February 23rd, 2016, giving some testimony under oath, correct?
Yes.
And you understood that at that hearing you took an oath to tell the truth, correct?
Yes.
And you understand the importance of
Yes.
being truthful, correct? So you've read the lines 18 through 21, page 205, correct?
The one you highlighted, yes.
Yes, okay. So isn't it true that you gave previous testimony under oath that you could have provided Mr. Shahadi with a recorder to ensure that all phone calls were recorded, right?
Yes, that's exactly what I said yesterday, too.
That's, Mr. Detective Moreno, that's not my question. Can you focus on my question, please? Okay? My question to you is, point blank, is you didn't tell the truth yesterday, correct?
That's not true.
You testified yesterday there's nothing you could have done post 5 o'clock to make sure that phone calls were recorded between Shahadi and Dippolito. Isn't that true?
That's not what I said.
All right, and you testified on February 23rd. Question, could you have given Mohammed Shahadi a device to make sure that a recording of the phone calls from Dippolito, perhaps when you weren't around? Answer, yeah, we could have provided him with a recorder, yes. Isn't that true? Isn't that what you testified to on February 23rd,
Yes,
2016?
And I testified yesterday that I could have provided him a digital recorder, too. Yes,
All right,
sir.
let me ask you the question again. I'm going to ask you for a yes or no answer. Isn't it true that on February 23rd, 2016, when you were asked under oath, when you were asked the following question, could you have given Mohammed Shahadi,
I can't hear the objection, Mr. Williams. Overruled, go ahead.
when you were asked the question, could you have given Mohammed Shahadi a device to make sure that there was a recording of the phone calls from Miss Dippolito, perhaps when you weren't around? Your answer was yes, we could have provided him with a recorder. Yes. Wasn't that your testimony under oath on February 23rd, 2016?
Yes, sir, and you're accusing me of lying on that, and I gave that same answer yesterday.
No, your answer yesterday, as I recall,
Yes,
your
sir, so
answer
do I.
yesterday is you could not have given...
Hold on, I got an objection, I got to deal with it before I... What's the objection? Okay. Overruled as to ask and answered. We're going to go around the block one more time on this, then we're moving on, but go ahead, you can answer.
This is a different question, Your Honor, respectfully.
I overruled that objection, so what I'm saying is you can ask the question, but we're starting to beat a dead horse. Go ahead.
Isn't it true that late yesterday afternoon you told these folks on the jury that you could not give your digital recorder to Mohammed Shahadi?
That's not true.
Okay, all right. We'll let the jury decide that. All right, now yesterday you testified under oath that you were not involved at all in the meeting with Mohammed Shahadi with the confidential informant package. Remember that? Remember that?
Yes.
And that was your testimony yesterday, correct?
Yes.
All right, great. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Page 209. You had a chance to read that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, do you recall giving sworn testimony under oath on February 23rd, 2016?
Yes.
All right, and I asked you at page 209, okay, and did you spend a lot of time discussing the CI packet with Mr. Shahadi? Your answer was, the original, the first time when we got involved? Yes. So your testimony on February 23rd, 2016 is directly at odds with what you told this jury under oath yesterday. Isn't that true, Detective Moreno?
Can I explain the answer, or?
Isn't that true?
No, it's not.
All right.
If I can explain the answer.
Uh,
If Mr. Williams wants to do that, he'll do that.
I'm going to object. He's allowed to explain his answer.
Okay, here's the rule. You have to directly answer the question, but you're entitled to answer or to explain your answer. However, keep in mind that at the end of this, Mr. Williams gets to do redirect, and he can ask any follow-up questions that he thinks important.
Yes, sir.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'll show you some more testimony on page 204, Detective Moreno. I've highlighted it for you. Okay. At page 204, I asked you, all right, or no, actually, Mr. Williams, I apologize. Mr. Williams had asked you at the February 23rd, 2016 hearing, he asked you, all right, when you meet with him and went over the confidential informant agreement, did you just basically shove it in front of him, tell him to sign it, and didn't let him read it? Your answer was no. Doesn't that testimony clearly establish that you, in fact, in answering Mr. Williams' question under oath, did discuss the confidential informant agreement with Mohammed Shahadi?
With all due respect, you're a little confused on that, because I was not the detective that actually had Mr. Mohammed sign the confidential informant forms. That was done prior to me. So the answer is no. I was not the one that provided Mr. Mohammed the confidential informant forms, and he did not sign them in front of me. It was Detective Ace Brown.
Did you do any kind of background search on Dalia Dippolito to confirm she had no prior criminal history?
Approach.
Detective Moreno, let me rephrase the question for you. Did you do anything to investigate the background of Dalia Dippolito prior to undertaking? Let me withdraw. That was a bad question. Didn't have my coffee this morning. Let me try it again. Did you do anything prior to anointing Mohammed Shahadi as the confidential informant to determine whether Dalia Dippolito had any prior criminal activity?
At what point of the investigation?
Prior to hiring or using Mohammed Shahadi as a confidential informant?
We didn't know who she was.
Okay. So would the answer be that you didn't do anything?
I didn't have no...
Well, you could have gotten Dalia Dippolito's phone number, right?
Yes.
Did you at some point in time do a background on Dalia Dippolito?
It was done, but I don't recall if it was me or one of the other detectives.
And what did it turn up?
I don't recall.
Yeah, okay. Would that be important to know?
It's been since 2009. Of course, I haven't reviewed it since, you know, I don't have no clue right now.
Would it be important when you're doing a sting operation to know whether a suspect has a prior criminal history?
Yes, if you know who they are, yes.
And why is that important to know?
Well, it depends. I mean, if you want to know who you're dealing with, just for the officer safety reasons, it's important. What kind of priors they have, if they have any violent history or anything like that, they would risk the officers.
Yesterday we had some audio tape conversations and a videotape, and my question is, do you know whether any of the money that was passed along by Ms. Dippolito was fingerprinted?
I do not recall.
You don't know?
No.
And by the way, did you instruct Mohammed Shahadi in that videotape to ask Dalia Dippolito for more money?
Or that video?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Did you? I thought I heard Mohammed Shahadi asking Dalia Dippolito for more money. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Did you authorize him to do that?
No.
So he did that on his own?
Yes.
Okay. Sounds like he's being the aggressor there, isn't it? Doesn't it?
I can't speak for Mr. Muhammad.
Well, he's initiating it, right? He's telling, hey, give me more money, right?
He asked for his own, in the video I did hear him say he asked for $200 from her for his own personal.
Prior to arriving at Mike Dippolito's house, let me lay a foundation. What was the date in which you went over to Mike Dippolito's, is it a condo or a house?
It's a condo.
Condo, okay. So what was the date that you first went to Mike Dippolito's condo with the cops folks filming?
That was early in the morning, and that was on August the 4th, I believe so. I'd have to review it.
And do you know whether anybody had obtained consent from Mike Dippolito to appear on Cops television show?
No.
And as I understand it, when you got to Mike Dippolito's condominium, isn't it true that the cameras from the Cops TV show were stuck right in the front of the door when he answered the door, correct?
Yes.
They were trying to get a dramatic image of Mike Dippolito, correct?
I would assume so.
Pardon?
I would assume so.
Okay, all right. And how were you profiled in the Cops TV show? Do you recall? Was it just a cameo, or were you kind of an integral part of the Cops episode?
We specify that question.
I'm sorry?
What do you mean?
Well, by that I mean, you saw the episode, right?
Yes.
Did they, what was your role in the Cops episode that aired on TV?
The cops episode, my role in it was as the lead investigator. I was featured in it, and it was a feature that happened after the case was already completed.
I'm almost done, Your Honor. I'm just checking my notes.
It's fine.
A few seconds, it might be done. Thank you, Detective Moreno, for your time this morning.
Okay. Redirect, Mr. Williams.
Officer Moreno, in order to protect Mohammed Shahadi, was his whole concern that he didn't want Ms. Dippolito to know that he was coming to the police and telling them?
Objection, leading judge.
Sustained.
Well, what was Mr. Shahadi's concern about being a confidential informant? Why did he want to be a confidential informant?
The original information that he received, he said that, he had the information and he didn't want this gentleman to be killed. That's the initial
Objection, hearsay judge, confrontation clause, side effect on the listener.
Approach.
What was Mr. Shahadi's concern about wanting to remain confidential?
His main concern was for his safety, and then also he did mention that, he was concerned, which I documented it in my report, that he was concerned that this gentleman was going to be killed if he didn't tell anybody.
Judge, Internet's report.
Overruled.
In order for Mr. Shahadi to remain confidential and not be disclosed, would you be required to be present?
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Would you be required to be present for everything that he recorded?
Yes.
The only way to make sure he wasn't listed as a witness would be for you to be present for every single time he recorded something. Isn't that
Objection,
true?
leading judge.
It's sustained. Rephrase the question, Mr. Williams.
Was he working off any charges?
No.
Was he getting paid for what he did?
No.
What he said in the video about taking $200 for himself, did he take $200 for himself?
No.
The confidential informant agreement, just so the jury understands, is the 99% purpose of confidential informants where you guys are using someone you caught in some...
Objection, leading judge.
Overruled for this question.
Where you guys are using someone you caught in some other crime to rat out other people.
Have been involved in those type of cases, yes.
And is it a lot of drugs?
Yes.
So you catch me with drugs, and then you ask me information about where I got my drugs from, and then you use me to go after other people.
Yes.
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Were you concerned, was it a big concern for you guys that Ms. Dippolito became suspicious that there was an ongoing investigation?
It was a concern through the investigation, yes.
Tell the jury why you guys didn't alert Mr. Dippolito that his wife was trying to have him killed until the 5th.
Well, just on the initial contact that she made with Mr. Mohammed at the gas station at the Mobile, and we first got involved in this case, that wasn't not enough for us to even pursue criminal charges on her yet. So we were going deeper into the investigation. At that time, we were comfortable enough that she believed that she was hiring us as, you know, as a hitman, not knowing that the police was behind it.
Was there anything even to tell him at that point in time?
I mean, if we would have made contact with him and told him this, we would have never even gotten any further with the investigation.
It would have ended at that point.
It would have ended at that point. Or we didn't, you know, we didn't know how he was going to react to the investigation. It could have thrown the whole investigation off.
When you conduct any investigation, are there unlimited ways to conduct an investigation? Like, you're going to look at it differently than I would, than another detective, than
Objection,
another
comment,
officer?
question, Judge.
Overrule.
Is everybody going to conduct an investigation differently,
Of course,
based on your experience,
of course.
based on your knowledge,
Yes,
based on your view of the evidence,
yes,
based on the facts of the case,
yes,
based on the witnesses,
yes,
based on the time?
yes,
There's so many variables. They're never going to be the same investigation, are they?
of course.
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
Was Mr. Shahadi excited about this? Like, I'm going to be a cop wannabe. Let's go get her.
No, no.
Thank you very much.
All right, officer, you may step down. Thank you.
I have one final question.
Do you have any objection to any recross? Okay, then approach. I got to find out what the subject matter is. All right, officer, you may step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
State ready to call its next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. The state would call Officer Woody John.
Yeah.